Welcome back to the Plantastic Events Podcast, your go-to source for all things small business and event innovation. I'm Will Davis, one of your hosts, and I'm here with
I'm Jennifer.
and in this episode, we're diving into the exciting realm where artificial intelligence meets the bustling world of very small businesses at events. So join us as we uncover how AI is empowering entrepreneurs to thrive in dynamic environments, revolutionizing productivity, operations, and overall success. Whether you're a passionate artisan, a dedicated food vendor, or simply intrigued by the possibilities AI presents for small-scale entrepreneurship, stick around for captivating exploration into the Plantastic Events universe. Did that sound scripted?
That was so beautiful.
I had to have fun with this because obviously our topic is AI this week, and
hmm
I used ChatGPT 3.5, which is the free version, and I
hmm
said, write me an intro to our podcast. Here's the name of it, and here's the topic. And it wrote me that, and the only thing I gave it back was turn that into one paragraph because it got a little bit verbose. It kind of went on.
Oh yeah,
So I tightened that down a little bit, and that was our intro. So AI already coming into the episode.
I love it. I love that we used it just to do this as an example of how it can work.
It's a really handy tool. I know that you use it more than I do, but
hmm
we both do utilize it. And this is really for people who are out there, whether you're an event organizer or a vendor or an artist, and you're thinking, man, I don't have enough time, and I'm not sure about this AI thing. Totally fair. A lot of people
Right,
aren't.
right. So before we jump into how we can use it, how they can use it, and some resources and stuff, I would like to just quickly touch on like the history of AI, how it started, and kind of where we are. If you're good with that, let's just.
Yeah,
Okay,
I
cool.
I want to know. I'm excited to find out about this.
Oh, good. Yay. Okay, so I also used AI to help me write this. So I'm not going to read word for word because it can get a little verbose, like you're saying. It's like just too much. So I'm just going to snapshot it here. So basically, artificial intelligence, known as AI, it has a rich history that dates back to actually the mid 20th century, and it first emerged in academic circles. So the term AI actually was coined in 1956 at Dartmouth, and it was in a seminal event that brought together like mathematicians, logicians, is that the word, and like different computer scientists, and they were discussing the potential of machines to simulate human intelligence. So during that time, AI research focused on rule based systems and symbolic reasoning, exploring whether machines could think by mimicking human logic. So that's kind of how it started. And it started a long time ago. Come a long way since then. But in the 1960s and 70s, the research did expand with programs designed for specific tasks like playing games. So just think of like computer games, like when you're playing a computer online, that type of thing, or it's solving mathematical problems for you. That's kind of how AI started. And then it struggled with the more complex and ambiguous type of situations or tasks, which led to a period of what they call the AI winter in the 1980s. And that's when the interest and the funding of AI were declining and the expectations weren't being met, and we just kind of moved on. And then there was another resurgence in the early 2000s that was driven by the advancements in the computer world, by the computing and the different, upgrades with computers and like phones and the way everything was progressing. And that allowed the systems to learn from that data and improve over that time, which played a crucial role in the revival of AI. And so the development of neural networks inspired by the human brain led to deep learning, which uses multiple layers of artificial neurons to process complex data. So just think of that as like the more that computers and phones and that type of technology advance through time, so has AI. Like it didn't stop. So the more that there's been machine learning and computers advancing, so has AI. But as it matured, of course, it became integral to very various industries like healthcare, finance, real estate, all the and the applications expanded into natural language processing like computer vision and robotics. And then companies like IBM, Google, OpenAI, they've been at the forefront of the AI development, creating powerful models like ChatGPT that we all know and love today. But in recent years, it's become way more accessible for businesses and individuals with like open source frameworks, which if you don't know what open source is, it's just everybody can go in and kind of make their own and develop it as it goes. And then or a cloud-based AI platform, which makes it easier to experiment with and deploy AI solutions. So I guess the democratization of AI continues to play a transformative role in technology and business and in society. So that's kind of a brief history on AI, kind of where it's come from and where it's going.
That's kind of wild. And I like that you touched on kind of a turning point where it went from like something you would have a hard time interacting with, and now
Hmm.
it's really become something that's very easy. If you've never played around in there, you can just like ask it a question like a person. Now it does take a little bit of practice to ask questions better, and there are things it does better than others, but it's I on a very like front level thing, I use it similarly to Google, but it's a
Hmm.
little bit easier to do, and it does other things. It's much more reactive than Google is. Google like takes you places. Google's like a doorway. It just
Right,
depends on what's on the other side of the doorway. Whereas AI is really like another source of information you can bounce questions off of and get
right.
straight to the answers.
Yeah, it's just technology is moving at lightning speeds. I mean, if you just look at history in general, like we had nothing, and then in a short amount of time, everything is happening. So I can just only imagine where we're going to be in 10, maybe even 20 years. It's going to look completely different than it does now. Like they're even like Boeing is making flying cars. It's just like crazy. The whole thing is crazy.
It is so wild. I heard a really wonderful story. I'll have to give credit to NPR's This American Life podcast, but they talked to some of the early engineers, and by early I mean like a few years ago when they were putting together their chatbot. Um, and so they finally felt there were a few kind of moments they touch on where they're like, wow, this is big. But one of them was a test that they actually give to children at different ages. And when the child can kind of like solve this test, which any adult would be like, yeah, obviously, then it kind of marks a moment in a human's growth. And they gave it to the AI bot. And here was the test. It was Bob and Susie are in their house. Um, Susie puts a cat in a box. Susie then leaves. Then the cat gets out of the box and gets into a drawer, and Susie comes back. Where does Susie think the cat is? And that's before looking. And a child, as an adult, you're like, well, Susie thinks it's going to be where she left it. She thinks it's going
Right.
to be in the box. A child will think that it has to do with object permanence. The child will probably think, oh, the Susie knows that the cat is now in the drawer. But as we grow, we understand there are things that happen to people that they don't see, they're not aware of. And the chatbot's response was not only about Susie, but it was like Susie thinks the cat is in the box. Bob thinks the cat is in the drawer because Bob saw the cat go in the drawer. The cat thinks that the cat is in the drawer because the cat went in the drawer, and the box thinks it's empty. Actually, the box doesn't think at all, or it was something like that. And it was just like showing off, but it was really an interesting turning point
Yeah.
because that's exactly the kind of thinking machines struggle with
Yeah.
and programming struggles with. And that was a big turning point. And now we have this opportunity to use it for ourselves, both in our personal lives and our business lives, which is really, really
Hmm.
incredible because there are those little tasks that we have that we need help with, not because they're hard, but because they're time consuming.
Right.
So I think that's a really helpful use of it.
Yeah.
But you use it a lot more deeply than I do, though, too.
Oh, I use it all the time. It's like my assistant. So, but I use various different platforms. I don't use just one. And so that's why stay tuned if you are interested in this, because we do have a resource list that we can share with you. And if you're watching us on YouTube, you'll be able to see it on the screen. But if you're listening, make sure you have a pen and paper ready, because we'll go through about 17 different resources that we've compiled to share with everybody. But it's I mean, it's AI is supposed to simulate human intelligence, right? So it's just like the way that every single iteration of an update of an AI, like let's just use Chat GPT, every single iteration of it that is coming out is increasingly more and more creepy but cool at the same time, because you can tell it to talk to you like it's a human, and it will, and it'll respond to you, and you can have like a real conversation, what it feels like a real conversation with another person. It's crazy what you can do with it now. It's the cadence, the way it speaks to you. You can like have it do whatever you want it to do. It's
It,
really quite incredible.
it's really, it is, it blows my mind. I do want to touch on a few things, like to me, like broad strokes. If you ever need one of these things, I think a ChatGPT or AI is really helpful for. And I made a really short list. A coworker. Like I
Hmm.
like to talk through my ideas. I like to have somebody to work with. If you need a coworker, but they don't need to carry around boxes, I
Hmm.
think AI is really great for that. Another one that I use for a lot because I do a lot of writing for work, proofreading. It's really handy for proofreading because it's not just, did you spell it right? Is the comma in the right place? It will give you more ideas.
Oh
Or you
yeah.
can say, proofread this and make it sound a little more friendly. Or proofread this and make sure that you push the value of X. And it will do that. And I think that's really, really handy, especially as someone who can kind of like I hate to proofread. I can proofread other
Yeah.
people's stuff, but I hate proofreading mine. And when I'm like working by myself, it's perfect for that.
Hmm. Yeah, and it can reduce costs too. So it's like with that, you don't have to pay researchers to do it because you can have it research for you, and then you don't have to worry about the proofreading. Because what I like to do with it is put what I need to in there and say, okay, now read over this like you're this person. Okay, now read over it like you're this person, and then have it go through. So then you don't have to send it to the different levels. Of course, there's always the caveat of there's going to be mistakes. It is not flawless by any means. I think, for instance, I don't know if it can do math. I try not to teach it or try not to ask, but I know at one point it couldn't draw a circle. I think there's still things that are still being worked out, but it has come a long way, but it's not foolproof. So I wouldn't like lean on it for everything, especially like health advice, legal advice, anything like that. It's good to get ideas, but still with professional type things, I would definitely reach out. But it can save you money on like doing research, or like you said, like proofreading without having to like outsource it to somebody else. It can give you ideas, it can create content, it can do all types of stuff that you want. It can build you a recipe, whatever you want it to do, it can.
It's weirdly good at that for something that's never eaten
Yeah.
anything and has no sense of taste. Actually, it's funny. I had a secondary list that was like, don't use it if you want these things. And just to rattle those off really quick, a lawyer. If you need a lawyer, don't use don't
Right.
use AI.
Yeah,
It's not a
no.
lawyer. Don't if you need a specialist, like a true specialist. And I think ChatGPT actually says at the bottom, like, some of this may be off a little bit.
Yeah.
If you never want to proofread, as you kind of said, like I think everything it puts out is worth a read, but that's part of controlling the voice of your company or whatever you're doing.
Hmm.
And the last one is like if something is potentially dangerous that you know nothing about, I would not use AI to learn to weld, for example.
Yeah.
Like that,
Yeah.
if that goes wrong, it could go very wrong. Don't use it for that, but do use it for other things that are like easier. Like some of the other things I had, idea generation. I love to get in there and go, write me a 10-point plan on um, making my backyard nicer. And it is great with that kind of thing, which is amazing because yeah, I don't know. I just think that's really awesome as that. And especially if you need them to funnel down your ideas, I think it's excellent
Hmm.
for that. Um, and another one that I haven't used it for, but I've heard other people using a lot is to write some code. So let's
Yes.
say and you may be able to speak to this. If you have a website that, or you pay somebody to make your website, like Squarespace does that,
Uh-huh.
and there may be some bits where you need specific code written,
Hmm.
it can write code, which is
Yeah.
awesome because that is not in my wheelhouse.
Yeah, there's probably about 10 different AIs out there that can write code for you. It can either do it in different languages, it could do it in one language. I know Cognition Labs is really great at doing the coding. So that's a great point, because I know, especially for those of us out there that are using Shopify, you're able to modify the back end of Shopify if you know code. But if you don't know code, you're stuck within their templates that they have. And so it can be very beneficial with that. And Pika, I think it's Pika. No, I'm sorry, it's 10web, 10web.io. It actually creates websites for you. So, but the thing is, it's everything can be automated with AI, everything, with the exception of the legal things. So just in the dangerous things, but it can, you can automate repetitive tasks. So that's what I'm trying to say. It's like a time saving thing. So if you're a creative person, and you can free up time for strategy and creative time, or tasks, by just automating all of your repetitive tasks with AI. Like for instance, with Agent GPT, that can perform any kind of research that you need and manage your tasks and enhance your productivity. And then you have like Chat GPT, like we've been discussing, and Claude. They offer more of a personalized customer support or customer experience. Chat GPT is more like a conversational type of platform, and Claude is more of a just uh by prompt. So it's not more, it's not a conversational, but they do give you quick responses to inquiries, especially with like customer experience. And then you can do AI driven CR systems like Zoho CRM that can allow you to give data driven insights into your customer behavior. There's so many out there that can free up your time, and it can just do it for you like that. It's crazy. It's the more I looked into this, even for this episode, the more I found more tools out there that are completely free and paid. There's both sides of it that you can use. And I think for small business owners, this is definitely a way for us to be able to compete with the larger companies that have capital to throw into a whole department to do this for them. We don't have that. So you got to use what you can that's out there.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. Let's go off that and talk about ways we use it in business senses then, because I think that that'll be helpful for people. I can go through a couple things that I use it in marketing for, because if you're a small business owner, whether you run events or you participate in events, you need to be doing your own sales and
Yeah.
marketing. Every
Yep.
every business needs to bring people in.
Yeah.
Emails, writing emails, I think it's excellent for that, especially if you don't want to think about it. Sometimes I don't want to write the first draft. I just want to react to a first draft because I can see
Hmm.
if it sucks. And then I will go in and go, all right, I don't like that, but at least I have something to work off of. I find that really helpful. Flyers also,
Hmm.
with the paid versions of these and with different ones, you can do visuals. You can have visuals made out. So you can use that to go, oh, I want a flyer about this, or I want an email and an image in the email. It can do all of that. You could even really use it to do some brand creation. Maybe we should do a podcast on brand. Anyway,
Hmm.
um, but if you're looking at like logos, color schemes, things like that, ask it, because it's seen so much because it can read the internet so quickly. So for graphic design, it's really helpful. Logo
Hmm.
options, it's helpful. Any of your marketing materials, and honestly, I would even use it for, let's say you feel like your booth at events isn't catching eyes the way you want it to. Ask it, find
Hmm.
out. It's worth like Googling what people say on the internet too, but get ideas from it. And even if it doesn't give you an idea that fits you, it'll probably give you a jumping off point and
Yep.
go, oh, I don't like that, but if I tweak it a little, I can do this. Which is the other thing with it, like just writing the intro for this. I gave it an adjustment, which was turn this into one paragraph, and it did it. So I think for marketing materials, it is a real help. I almost never use the final product that it gives me,
Yeah.
but with a few small tweaks, I will use something pretty similar. And
Yep.
I believe, and I will ask you this, as you use it, if you have an account, it'll kind of learn your like what to expect from you. Isn't that true? Like
And
your voice?
Yeah, I know ChatGPT does that. I'm not sure if the other ones do. Like, for instance, you're talking about graphics and branding, like with Leonardo AI or Pika.art, or even Canva or Adobe Express. You can do all of you can create visuals and like artwork and the marketing materials and all of these. I don't think it learns it though. I think it goes task by task, but
Oh,
ChatGPT
okay.
does. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But
And I
also
know,
you could say like, here's my logo, build me a flyer
yeah,
based around these colors and this style.
yeah,
And it could make an image or make a graphic design based around that.
yeah. And Adobe Express is actually leading the way with that. They have come leaps and bounds. And you got to understand, Adobe Express is Photoshop and like Adobe Illustrator. So they are like the leading when it comes to content creation and graphic artists, right? So there's tons of tools out there, but they're the biggest. I feel they're the biggest at least. And they're the ones that have come up with Adobe Express to combat or to compete with Canva. And with their generative fill AI, it's beautiful graphics that creates. It is insane. It's so, and it's a free that you can use it for free. I mean, of course, they always have an upgrade that you can get into, but that's a really great source for that. Or in Leonardo. The only thing is with these, like creating art, not necessarily in the way that you're talking about, but some people are doing, the non-ethical thing and creating art in AI, which AI can still, because what it does is it goes off the internet and it looks at different other art and then it creates an art piece based on all these other people's art. So there's a big hubbub right now in the artist, vendor, and exhibitor community about AI art. So there's a fine line that you can walk right there. I wouldn't use AI art to create yourself a business because that can
Mm.
be seen as unethical because what you're doing is you're just using other people's art to create your own. And it's like not a lot of people appreciate that. So I would be careful with that.
That's a good point. And I think if you're creating a logo for your business, you're really talking about branding your business in a
Right, 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 right.
very, very
Mm-hmm.
general sense. I would still suggest going to someone to really do that. Now, you might use it as for ideas
Mm-hmm.
because often you want to have a meeting, especially with visuals, and you want to bring visuals to create visuals or bring some
Right.
ideas about it. I would suggest using AI to go, here's the feel of my business. Give me some words or
Yeah.
give me some words that describe my what I just gave you. And it will give you some things that might influence your designer
Yeah.
or say, here are some pictures I like. Give me some ideas from that and gives you more to bounce off of. But
Yeah.
I definitely agree with you. And it's just not going to be the way a human touch can be in that sense because your brand is so personal.
100%. Yeah. 100%. I agree with you 100%. And I don't want to, I can talk about this all day long, but but biting on, well, not biting on, but just on the heels of that, I guess I should say, the, the branding piece, I feel like you need to know what it is that you're looking for before you can ask somebody else to do it. So I think this is super important by like exactly what you just said. Put everything that you need to in the AI tool that you're using and say, give me words that describe this and work through it yourself because you're going to have to know what you're asking other people to do. Just like when you ask for a social media manager, you need to know how to do social media to understand what you're asking them to do. Because if you just hire somebody just to do your social media, and you don't know what it is that you're looking for or what they're talking about or even how to measure the success of their job of what they're doing, then it's not, you're just wasting money and time. So you have to at least learn it, understand what you need from it, how it's going to benefit you, and then move on. But I think the human aspect is very important, and I think using it as a tool and not as end all be all is important as well.
I agree. And your example of a social media manager, if you're going to hire a social media manager because you don't use social media, which I would hire one for certain bits of social media because I just don't use it, then you're really looking for not just a person to do the thing, you're asking for someone to teach you a little bit. And I think
Hmm.
that's different also.
Yeah.
On that note, I do also want to say I think some people before we get move on because I'm really intrigued to see this list that you've got of all of these options that are out there. But I know some people have been a little bit unsure about using AI because they think, oh, it's listening to me, oh, it's taking my information. Um, bad news and good news. What I will say from a marketing perspective, you know how sometimes you are having a conversation with somebody about something, and then you get like advertised that thing on social media, and you're like, it's listening to me. It's not that your phone is listening to you, it's that all of your data is being collected somewhere at some point.
Hmm.
If you're Googling things, if you're opening emails, if you're doing all that, it's all being collected, so don't feel
Yeah.
like AI is doing anything different than Google's doing, Facebook is doing, any of these companies that you're using for free, because a phrase I sort of hate but is true to an extent, there's no such thing as a free lunch. All of those things you're using for free aren't really free. They're looking at what you're doing and they're responding
Hmm.
to it and they're allowing people to advertise to you better. So I would encourage people not to worry too much about AI.
Right.
Our lives are so much more out there than we think anymore.
100%.
And so don't worry too much about that with AI.
Yeah, I agree. And one last point, and I promise I won't hone in on this anymore, but it's everywhere in your home. It's in your TV, it's in your Alexa, it's in your Google, whatever the Google one is on a Google Home. It's in your telephones, it's in your routers, it's in your vacuum cleaners if you have that enabled, it's in your washing machines, it's in your car. I know that the car manufacturers are now selling their data that you talk about in your car when you have conversations. They sell that data to people so they know how to now target you on your phone with ads.
Wow.
So yeah,
There's that
all of you, everything is being recorded all the time. Just assume that.
that being said, and I'll one little last one. There's a certain video talking company that I won't name, that we're using right now to talk to each other over time and distance.
Yeah.
They actually there's concern with actors that they were looking at something that would say, "Oh, if you use this for free, then we can use your image and likeness."
Yeah.
Which is scary if you're an actor, because if you do film work,
Hmm.
that's your moneymaker.
Yeah.
That's you, and that would take that away. So there be AI, don't I would say don't worry too much about that.
Yeah.
Anyway, moving
Yeah.
on. Uh, what so show us some of these other
Okay.
ones out there. I only use ChatGPT, so I'm excited to learn more about these other options
Oh,
too.
perfect. So I'm going to share my screen just so the folks that are watching on YouTube can actually see this. So, like I said, if you're listening to us on your podcast platform of your choice, please grab a pen and paper. I have about 17. You can always pause, rewind, do whatever you want to do, and then on YouTube you'll actually see this, and I'll find a way to get it in the show notes as well.
Yeah.
But for AI for small business, I have 17 different resources here that are going to be able to help you. And you can pick and choose whichever ones you want. And these are just the 17 that I know of. I know there's more out there, and this is by no means a comprehensive list of all of them. And we were not paid to mention any of these, so none of these are paying us. These are
Mhm.
I'm not standing behind them. I'm not recommending them. I'm just giving you the information. So all of that being said, the first one on the list is Agent GPT. It's an autonomous AI agent that assists with research and project tasks. This is a great one for productivity, especially if you're using or if you're looking for a way to maximize your time for your time management. This is a really great one to use. And in small business, especially for me, I have a small business. I'm a full-time RVer and I have a full-time job. I need something to help me, and this is a great tool for that. Syllabi.io. This is a really cool one. I have a lot of them in here for video and content creation because that's where I struggle and I need the most help with. So just keep that in mind. But Syllabi.io, this is a video script creator to help produce video content. So it transcripts all of your videos. So it's pretty cool with that. And it helps you create videos for social media. HeyGen.com is an AI driven video platform for video editing and creation. This is a great tool to use in conjunction with scenery video that we'll talk about in just a minute. So this is a really great one for video editing because I hate video editing, but this is a really great one to help you because video editing can get very tedious and take a lot of time. So this is it'll help you save a lot of time. So Pika.art it's art generator for graphic design. It's a good one to play around with and look at, especially if you're doing your branding, if you're trying to create a look or a feel of your website. This is a great way to start. Opus Pro, it converts long videos into shorter, more shareable clips. This is the biggest tip. Use this one. Use this one for your social media. It's excellent. It takes your long form video and creates snippets out of them. And it also puts a transcript over it that highlights each word as you speak. It is insane, the intuitiveness of this tool. So Opus Pro, that one's a great one. Scenery.video it's an easy to use video editor designed for quick video projects. Again, this in conjunction with heygen.com, they both work similar, or you can use them together. It's for editing your videos. Course Factory. I just threw this one in because I found this one fascinating, that you can automate your creation process. For instance, my husband does custom designs on Yeti tumblers right now. We're expanding out. So what we're going to do is we'd like to create some courses on how to powder coat. What he can do now is he can create a video of him powder coating, and then Course Factory goes in and creates a sellable course for him out of that. So it's pretty incredible. And then
Wow.
Gamma.app, it creates presentations, and they're amazing. So you have to go in, you have to set it up so it can do it, especially for branding. As you can see, I did not use it with this one. I used PowerPoint, of course, but this one, if you are adventurous and you want to put your information in there, it can create really beautiful presentations. Otter.ai, it transcribes meetings, creates action items, and assists in collaborative work. So this is a great one to use if you're in meetings. You don't have time to take notes because maybe you're a part of it, or there's a lot of conversations happening. This just helps you manage all those conversations and takeaways. Remove.bg just removes backgrounds from images and streamlines the image editing. So this also can happen in other ones. This one's just super easy to use and free. Canva also does this with the paid, and I believe Adobe Express does it as well. Leonardo.ai is a beautiful tool for generating AI art. Again, please, we do not advocate you stealing other people's art to create your own art. This would be like for a individual idea, but play around with it. It's really fun, and it has really beautiful graphics that it creates. ChatGPT, we've talked about it several times, but it is more of a conversational AI assistant. It is my mentor. It is my mental health person. It is my assistant, ChatGPT. I have the paid 4.0 version, so I can scan through all the other GPTs other people have made that help me. This is a great one. It's free, and you don't have to upgrade, but I would highly advise, if you're going to use one and you only wanted one, ChatGPT is it, in my opinion. Claude, it's a newer one through Anthropic is the company. Microsoft now owns ChatGPT, but Claude is owned by Anthropic, an up and coming company. This Claude is really great. It's highly become, or quickly becoming up there with ChatGPT. Again, it's text based. You can put something in there and it'll help you out with that. Had it help me with my blood test the other day, and it was great. Help me understand it. So Grammarly is another really good one for writing, as a writing assistant. Grammarly is, I think a lot of people know about Grammarly. Synthesia.io, it's an AI generated virtual characters and avatars for video content. So if you needed a character for your video, say I have something, I'm creating a video on how to do powder coating, and I want to show something animated, like going along the bottom, like going into the next step or something like that, this would be what you would use for that. Zappy Lab, it's a platform for scientific research and collaboration. This is going to be useful for specific industries. So if you're in the type of scientific research or more technical type of fields, Zappy Lab is what you're going to want to use. And then last but not least is Zoho CRM. It's an AI powered customer relationship manager to help streamline your business operations. CRMs are very important. And if you need one that's going to help you, because maybe you're not great at the building a customer relationship or experience, then definitely use Zoho CRM to help you out. But these are my 17 top, I guess, AI tools that I'm going to suggest.
I love that. I like that you threw Grammarly in there because I don't think I forget. I don't think of
Hmm.
Grammarly as AI, but it is. And you're seeing AI get kind of mixed in with platforms you already use. Like you mentioned Adobe, which and if you do any I use it for video creation. I use it for graphic design. I use it for photo editing. But they now have it integrated right in there. So Adobe is kind of now an AI platform
Yep.
to an extent. And this is a really great list. You've given me some really good ideas on this. And gosh, I'm probably going to pull the trigger and actually pay for one before long because it looks really handy. I love it. Yeah, see if there's something out there you want to try out, try it out. Some of
Yeah.
them will be free, some of them will be paid. But really, it's handy. And like we kind of said earlier, the paid thing, it's if you're paying for it, they're probably taking less of your information. If it's free, you're still paying for it. It's just you're paying for it with the information you put in. That doesn't necessarily mean that doesn't mean they're doing something nefarious with it at all. It just means that they may be saying, "Oh, okay, we can make our responses better, but we can't do that without more feedback." So it's kind of testing as it's happening because
Yep.
everybody wants to make whatever their product is better, and their product is artificial intelligence.
Yep, 100%. And just so the future is just like it's going to grow, it's going to continue to evolve. It's not slowing down. And with the technologies like generative AI and advanced robotics that are gaining ground, I can only say it's just going to get even more and more and more easy to use, prevalent, and it's not going anywhere. It's going to be a normal thing in everybody's lives to be using AI, and especially with business growth, you can have AI predict how your business can grow and how to transform your operations and your customer service and your marketing. You can definitely use this as a business partner if you take that not as in a legal stance, but they can like give you ideas. It can bounce, brainstorm with you. There's all kinds of things you can do, and there's all kinds of different new business models out there for all your entrepreneurs that if you can get into the AI and know all the tools, you can create your own little business there. It's an AI, I guess, liaison, and you can help other people with it too.
It's true. I try to, as a person who works and kind of manages myself, I try to break my day into manager time and employee time, and I'm my own manager and I'm my own employee. And sometimes I just don't have the bandwidth to switch hats. Uh, Kind of
Yep.
like you said, it's a great use for that to go, all right,
Yeah.
just tell me, here's where I want to get, just tell me what to do. Or here's what I need done. I don't have time to do it. Do it, worker bot, or tell me what to do, manager bot.
Yeah.
Either way.
Exactly. Keep. Yeah.
Cool. Well, I hope this has given everybody some ideas, a bit of an introduction, taken a little bit of the nervousness out of it somewhat. And hopefully out of those 17, you probably heard something that either fits your business or fits something you just are sick of doing and don't want to do, or just want to do better. And it can be great even just to go do this and you go, no, that's not good either, but it's going to make me better because I know what I don't like.
Yep. And just be patient with it. And when you're learning it, and just know you're not going to get it on the first try, but the more you use it, the better it's going to get.
True. Absolutely. Like so many
Yeah.
things.
So
Cool.
you can find us on Eventany Team on Instagram. I know that. And then Eventany on Facebook. And if you're seeing us on YouTube, I think it's Eventany on YouTube as well. I can clarify that. But the next episode will be dropping fairly soon. So stay tuned. Subscribe and like and follow.
Yeah, and we'll keep bringing you more stuff. Always feel free to reach out too if there's specific subjects you'd like us to delve into or get more involved in. So great.
Absolutely. Oh, yeah. And if you want to be a guest on our podcast, please don't hesitate to reach out at will@eventsny.com.
Yeah,
What's
that'll
the
work.
e-
Do that. I
okay.
think you can also do media@eventity.com.
Media. Okay. So yeah, so
Yeah.
let's email media@eventsny.com. That's where they'll go to, and will for sure see them. And if you're interested in being a guest and talking about anything in the artist vendor and exhibitor world, we'd love to hear from you and we'd love to have you on.
Yeah. Very
Okay.
cool. All
Yeah, we'll
right.
see you next time.
We will yell at you again in the future.
All right.
Thanks,
Thanks.
everybody.
All right, bye.